You're with Jia Ying and Taran, and welcome to the Cohort with SMU. Coming up today, we'll be tackling issues from a Gen Z perspective, giving our hot takes on smartphones and internet culture.
Join us as we explore the enigma over questions such as, are we really using our phones too much? And if cancel culture is simply just a Gen Z phase.
But first, here's the news. Oh no, my professor just said that he wouldn't allow any electronics in his class. So it means I have to print out all my readings, and he gives a lot of readings because I'm a social science student, And we won't even be able to refer to anything. So if I don't understand what he's talking about, I can't even Google it.
Okay.
And I have to take notes, physical notes.
Wow.
But I haven't held a pen in ages. So why do people even do this nowadays?
Don't know.
Are you even listening to me, Taran? Stop using a phone.
Oh my god, Jia Ying, you sound just like my mom. She recently just said that I've been using my phone way too much.
I think that's a common thing that our loved ones always nag us about. But I've actually been thinking, are we really using our phones too much? Is there truth to what they've been nagging us about? On one hand, some people may say that, yes, we've been using it too much, it's been affecting our mental health, physical health, and obviously our social life, like what we just showed. But on the other hand, some people may say that it's integral to our lives now. Phones are integral to our lives now, that, our phone use is justified. What do you think, Taran?
Come to think of it actually, Jia Ying, I think I'm leaning more towards the side of phones being an integral aspect to our lives. We are just so involved with phones nowadays, and it's really very helpful in terms of studying. If I need to search something immediately, I can just whip my phone up in class and just quickly do a Google search, for example, for a word that I don't know. And I think the most beneficial thing that I find myself using a lot is sometimes you have to last minute edit a Google document, right? And it's just very efficient that way because you can just access it on your phone.
I feel like that's also kind of blurred the lines between work and leisure time. So sometimes on MRT, it's good to just blank out, look at the scenery outside. But half the time, I'm just doing work on my phone, you know what I mean?
I agree with you because even for me, my Telegram chats will have millions of messages along the way. That definitely blurred the lines, like what you said, in today's aspect of offline and online and our leisure time and what is important school time also.
Yeah. Back when I was heavily involved in my CCA, I felt the need to be 24/7 accessible to all of my stakeholders, maybe the managers, the clients, and I mean even to my friends as well. It's not great to be 24/7 accessible. Sometimes people would text me for work at 2 a.m. and I'll feel obliged to reply them, or when I'm out with my family, I'll feel obliged to reply them. Because, you're always having your phone with you. And if they follow you on Instagram, they can see that you're posting about going out. So they can always think that, if you can post on Instagram about you going out, you can reply me real quick. I guess you have greater productivity, but at what cost?
Yeah, that's actually very true. And I think also sometimes it makes you have that fear of missing out. Because, when you see your Instagram, then you see that, hey, your friends all go out.
Oh, man.
That kind of thing. Then you're like, oh no. I want to be part of that also. And then sometimes when there are a lot of messages that comes into your Telegram group chats and all, right? You don't view it in time, and then you feel that you are missing out on something. So the fear of really missing out is really prominent, especially for me. And in terms of having a lot of messages coming in, I feel that that's why my screen time is so high also, because I find myself always looking at my phone and it always appears for my Telegram group chats. That is the most or the highest screen time that I have.
What's your current screen time?
I think about 4 to 7 hours. It varies, but that's
4 to 7 hours? That's a very big range.
Sorry. I would say it mainly falls within that range, but I would say the highest daily average is 7 hours. Kind of crazy when you think about it.
Yeah, honestly. Okay, we only have 24 hours. 7 hours is about 1/3 of our day spent on our phones, right? Yeah, for me, my range is slightly narrower, but it's definitely on the higher side of your range, so it's about 6 to 7 hours a day. But I would say that my 7 hours a day are because of me using my phone at night. Yeah, have you ever heard of this thing called revenge bedtime procrastination?
Not really. What exactly is that saying?
Well, it's a phenomenon where people just take the time at the end of the day to just scroll their phones mindlessly. For even if they're very tired, they will just still scroll on their phones for at least an hour. So it's been taking a toll on my physical health, and my dad just keeps nagging me about it. Stop using your phone at night. Especially because when you're already in bed, you don't want to get up and turn off the lights again, right? So you just turn off the lights, you take a phone, you lie down, and you just scroll 1-2 hours. TikTok doesn't help, definitely, right?
Agreed.
So, yeah, my dad always nag me about it, especially if I need to get new glasses. Every time I have to change glasses, it's not even because of my myopia, my short-sightedness. It's because of my astigmatism. It's because of my phone use at night, you know, where the bright light shines into your eyes. Yeah, not great.
I completely agree. So like, I don't really use specs, like spectacles, so I can't really relate in that aspect. But my father also would always say that don't use your phone in the dark, you know, and like when it's sleep time, so just sleep, you know. So like my sister also uses specs and she does that, and then he would always say that is why your eye degree is going to get like badly affected. So we can actually see that in some aspects, right, that using phones, not only does it affect you like mentally, it also tends to affect you physically, because it really strains your eye. Like imagine your eye just focusing on a screen for 7 hours a day, like constantly.
Man. Yeah.
It's kind of really intense, I would say, and it's a bit straining. Yeah, definitely would affect.
But honestly, sometimes I just want to see how my friends are doing on social media, right? I just make bad decisions about doing it at night and at 2 a.m. So I just want to have a social life, man. But think about it, it's quite ironic, right? We've been using our phones to maybe keep up with our friends, try to upkeep our social circle, but you just texted on your phone to your other friends while you were with me, one of your friends. So why are you sacrificing your offline life for your online social circle?
I'm so sorry, Jia Ying, that you had to experience that. But I did some research. I believe actually what you were saying, Jia Ying, the academic term is phubbing. So essentially it's very similar to snubbing, but with the PH because it's for phones. You're doing it with phones, so phubbing. And the worst thing about phubbing, essentially what it means is to basically use your phone when you are meeting somebody, like in person, but you are just concentrated on your phone, like your social media and just using your phone in general and not giving the person you're with the attention needed. It's kind of weird because you're just like, if I'm present with you right now, I should be giving you my attention, because if not, I can just text you instead.
I guess you know it as well, Taran. You've done this to me before during our meetups.
I'm so sorry, Tang. I didn't mean to. And that is actually one of the scary facts of phubbing. It happens subconsciously most of the time, and people don't really realize it. So a research done in 2021 that actually shows that prolonged phubbing can actually lead to lower levels of friendship satisfaction between people. So that's the scary part of phubbing.
But it actually got me thinking, so is it really just a part of our generation's culture that we are so attached to our phones?
Come to think of it, might be a possible thing, but I feel that the bigger question is, what is our generation culture?
That's a great question, Taran. We'll be talking more about that after the break, so stay tuned to find out. Welcome back to the Cohort by SMU. So, Taran, I'm pretty sure you've heard of the word Gen Z being, circulated around on social media and all.
For sure. Literally everywhere you go, you see Gen Z there.
Yeah.
And I actually did this research once before to see what is Gen Z or who are part of the Gen Z range. And it's people between the years 1997 to 2012.
Oh, that means that we're both Gen Zs as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. So what is your favorite part of being a Gen Z, Jia Ying?
I would have to say it's our dynamic use of slangs. We have way too many slangs and it keeps changing time and time again. But I remember reading about how it was credited to how our phones actually allow us to communicate more effectively over time and space. So that's why whenever someone starts a new slang, we can always adopt it very quickly and we can keep changing it very fast.
Yeah, that's actually very, very true. I feel that I've only started picking up on slangs when I entered university, and it's all thanks to my friend Cheyenne.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, she says a lot of slangs, and there was this one particular slang called cap, which was circulating a lot at that time, like on TikTok, on Instagram, and even in our friend dynamic. And essentially what cap means is to lie. So given in a context, like when you say that I'm saying something seriously, so I would be like, no cap, Jia Ying. This is no cap.
No cap.
Yeah, it's facts.
Yeah,
so,
facts only.
Yeah, and that's the most amazing part about that. And I feel that like slang is such a prominent feature in how my friend dynamic works. Like it's just being used a lot and very frequently.
I think it's quite a miracle that we haven't really busted out our slangs at this point of time, right?
There are a lot of slangs. Some examples are like the word slay.
Slay queen.
Slay queen. It's like basically like to go for it and you can do it and conquer it. There are also words like spill the tea, which means like share the drama or like sip on the tea. There's also the phrase simp. So when you are really obsessed with someone, in a sense, it will be used in a context where you are literally simping on that person or for that person.
Like you're such a simp, right?
Yeah, you're such a simp. That works also. And I think a very common slang use is salty. So it's basically like means to being petty. So you'd be like, don't be so salty about this, Jia Ying, or don't be salty about this. It's just keep it easy.
Just kidding, right?
Yeah.
Don't be petty about it.
Yeah, don't be petty.
I even use it as like a way of identifying a fellow Gen Z. When a Gen Z comes and tell me like, oh, yeah, no cap, that's damn amazing. I'll be like, hey, sister? Yeah, our fellow sisters in Gen Z.
Are you my friend?
Yeah.
We are together. Have we seen each other before?
Yeah, I read a lot about these kind of things, but I read before that slangs in general, not just Gen Zs, it's used to identify a community and to help us to form bonds. So, you know, like being sisters, calling each other queen and saying no cap, that's a way for us to identify our fellow Gen Zs.
Yeah, completely agree. That is one amazing way that defines our Gen Z identity. But there are also many different aspects, I feel, that make Gen Z so unique, such as our like tech savviness in using social media.
Yes.
And also not forgetting the fact of social justice warriors and like cancel culture. Yeah.
Ooh, spill the tea, man.
That's what we are literally spilling today.
Tea. So, Taran, for the benefit of our audience, would you care to explain what cancel culture means?
I would love to, Jia Ying. So, essentially the definition from Cambridge Dictionary.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, Cambridge Dictionary, yeah.
I got the receipts.
Yeah.
So that it says that cancel culture is when an individual or a society decides to reject and stop supporting someone because they have said something wrong or offensive. So essentially it's the same concept of boycotting, like when they do things that you do not agree with, essentially.
So I cancel someone, I cancel an organization.
Yes, correct. So please don't cancel me, don't cancel me, Jia.
I try not to, yeah.
But just speaking of it, just for fun, have you ever been cancelled, Jia?
If I think about it, I guess the one I can think about now is that I've been cancelled for not liking bean sprouts. How can someone do that to me? I'm not a fan of bean sprouts, you know, but yeah, I got cancelled for that. But to be fair, it's just like a joke between friends, right?
That's true. I think on an everyday basis, like we don't really say that, oh, I don't support that person's view or ideology, I'm gonna cancel you.
Yeah.
We just be like, I just won't talk to that person. I think it's more fitting on like a general scale of things for like organizations or like celebrities. That's when we really use the term cancel, like I cancel them because I don't believe in what they say. I think a very big topic would be like, for example, workplace toxicity. So in that case where, for example, the workers feel that like the environment that they are working in the company is very toxic and it's not healthy, like they make them overtime a lot or they don't treat them with respect, you know? Yeah, and there are certain like issues popping up these days, and I would say that is where like cancel culture is kind of good in a sense, because that's where like these workers, like they don't feel the power to actually confront them like their bosses about it, so they can take to social media or like the internet to rant or like to discuss these issues, and social justice warriors would essentially take it upon themselves to spotlight the issue so that justice would really be gotten for that the workers.
Yeah, I guess in that way cancel culture empowers people to speak up, but I would say that from what I've seen, cancel culture also has its downfalls. So I remember reading about how a research fellow at the Institute of Policy Studies, IPS, they actually wrote about how cancel culture has recently evolved to actually cancel a particular person or a particular organization more than actually tackling the issue at hand, right? So for example, like in your case, maybe they'll just attack the boss or the business instead of actually talking about the larger issue of workplace toxicity. Yeah. And I think another example of it was, do you remember seeing that one TikTok of that one Singaporean guy that commented on how Singaporean girls don't dress well enough?
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
Yeah, he had the audacity to say about how he's the best looking guy on earth.
The audacity of some people is crazy.
Right. But I've actually seen a lot of TikToks like just commenting on that. But I've also really like noticed a trend where they just attack the boy and they just focus more on the way that he said it. So they're just mocking his TikTok video. But they don't actually talk about the larger issue of, which is, misogyny. Yeah.
For sure.
So why do guys feel the need or feel that they are privileged enough to comment on a girl's appearance, right? So I've never actually seen people talk about that, which is quite a pity, what an opportunity lost.
Yeah, like completely agree. And I feel that that's the trend that our generation is actually leaning to. Like it started off like, okay, cancel culture, yes, we are gonna find the issues that we are facing and really bring justice. But sometimes it can fall into that loophole where you're not really like addressing the issue. Right?
Yeah, I guess it doesn't help that on TikTok, if you hop on trend, then you get more popular, right? Because of the algorithm.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. And not just that, the fact that we're not tackling the real issue, but also, have you heard of the word slacktivism?
Is it like activism with slack? Like, it's just a lazy version of activism?
Yeah, that's right. So, slacktivism, to give you like a more formal definition, would be the practice of, supporting political or social causes, but by means of, online means such as maybe signing a petition online, or maybe just like clicking the like button, clicking the share button, that kind of thing. But the issue with slacktivism is that people will only repost to make themselves feel better. But, when it actually comes to more substantive actions, such as donating, or maybe like volunteering for the cause, right, then people won't really turn up. Which is, sure, some people don't really have the capacity, and I respect that. But more often than not, people just make themselves feel good, as I mentioned, and they just, like and share. Yeah. So it's very performative instead of actually tackling the issue again at hand, right? So, I don't know. What do you think about it?
Yeah, actually, I think it's a very real thing because I feel that it's very similar to the fact or the essence that some people actually just post or repost or they voice out for the sake of voicing out, just so that they don't feel left out from their friends. Like sometimes they feel like a need to conform to their friends or see what is appropriate as to what society would actually accept. So they feel like, and I believe there's the term that it's called crowd mentality. So essentially you just like monkey see monkey do, like you just follow what the crowd or the majority is feeling, and then they feel that, okay, I need to feel that kind of way and I need to feel the same way, if not I will be rejected. So they just feel like the need to jump on the bandwagon just for the sake of it and also just do it. But then it begs to the question whether is it really effective? Are we really calling out the issue at hand? Or are we just doing it just because for fame or like for clout in a sense, which is basically getting more likes, more views? Or are we really trying to make a change from it?
Yeah, that's a good point actually, Taran. I think that's something that every one of us will need to think about. So why are we participating in cancel culture? Or why are we speaking up for things that we're speaking up again? So be it like misogyny, workplace toxicity. So are we doing it for popularity, just to fit in? Or do we really feel about it and that we want to make a difference to the world, right?
Yes, that's very true, Jia Ying. And I feel that even though there is still so much more we have to do as a generation to grow and like to answer these questions, like what are we in cancel culture for? Like, are we solving the real issues? But I would say it's good that our generation, there is a growing trend that we are getting more involved. We care, and I feel that that is the most important aspect, because once you have that drive and that care for addressing certain issues, how we go about doing it is more of the issue of refinement and how we can better do it. I would say, like, since we are going there, it's good that we are on that train, that it's going to somewhere hopefully good and we can address issues.
Yeah, acknowledging the downfalls are always like, the first step to being better at it.
Yeah, correct.
So yeah, I definitely hope that, all these downfalls of cancel culture don't stop Gen Zs or just anyone in general to speak up about stuff that they really care about.
And that's a nice note to end on for today's discussion about smartphones and internet culture.
Thank you for tuning in. Once again, you're with Jia Ying and Taran, and this was the Cohort with SMU.